and to be very happy. Oh, why is it wrong for me to want those things?
Well,
I can be smart when it's important, but most men don't like it.
Some actors spend years trying to get noticed, while others seem to find a golden ticket overnight. But that ticket often comes with a steep price. We are revealing 19 sitcom stars who allegedly traded personal favors for their big breaks. It is a wild ride through TV history. One star on our list actually admitted it in an interview. 1. Jennifer Lawrence on The Bill Engvall.
For the record, I've never had to pay for herpes, and if I did, it would kill me.
Show you see, long before she was winning awards and standing on the big stage, this young actress was just a regular face on a sitcom called The Bill Engvall Show. The show ran for about 30 episodes and followed a family man in the suburbs. It was a decent hit, bringing in nearly 2 million viewers every week. But the thing nobody tells you is how fast her rise actually was. People started to whisper that her quick jump from a small TV role to being the most famous woman in the world was not just luck. To put it mildly, many people were crazy about her girl-next-door vibe, but insiders had other ideas. There were rumors that she had a very close relationship with a powerful man named Harvey Weinstein. Many overlooked the fact that she seemed to get every big role she wanted right after they were seen together at private events. Some say it was a transactional relationship to make sure she stayed at the top of the list. While she denies these stories today, the timing of her success is still a big mystery in Hollywood. She went from making a few $1,000s an episode to being worth millions in just a couple of years. It makes you wonder if those private meetings were the real reason she became a household name so fast. But even a huge movie star like her had to start somewhere. And she is not the only one who had a strange path to fame. Another actress on a magical show had to deal with a much darker situation just to keep her job. 2. Rose McGowan on Charmed.
You have a meeting or come to a party, they would show up and that party is just him. Who got them there? Who are the assistants?
The show Charmed was a massive success, often reaching over 5 million people every single week. It followed 3 sisters who were witches, and when one of the original stars left, Rose McGowan stepped in to save the day. She became a huge star almost overnight. However, the thing nobody tells you is what happened behind the scenes to keep that spot. She later described her experience as making a deal with the devil. What many overlooked is that she felt forced into a situation with a major studio head just to keep her career moving forward. To put it mildly, it was not a happy time for her. She felt like she had to give in to his demands, or her career would be over before it really started. This kind of power dynamic was very common in the late 90s and early 2000s. She eventually became a leader in speaking out against this kind of behavior, but it took years for her to feel safe enough to tell the truth. At the time, she was just trying to survive in a very tough town. Her story shows that sometimes even the biggest stars feel like they have no choice but to follow the rules of a broken system. Dealing with the devil is a scary thought, but what happens when a star uses their natural charm to win over the people who run the most talked-about shows on television? 3. Chelsea Handler on The Bernie Mac Show.
Okay, because I'm sure I'm so shy, I won't answer the question.
Before she had her own talk show, this funny lady appeared on The Bernie Mac Show. That sitcom was a giant hit with over 10 million viewers at its peak. It was a great place to get noticed. But you see, her real big break came when she started dating a man named Ted Harbert. He was a very powerful man who ran a major television network. The thing nobody tells you is that even famous legends like Joan Rivers noticed the timing. Joan once said that she believed this actress used her relationship with the boss to launch her own career. To put it mildly, it looked a bit suspicious to everyone in the industry. One minute she was a guest star, and the next she had her own show on the network her boyfriend ran. She usually laughs off these claims and says it was all her own talent, but the industry is full of people who think otherwise. Many people are crazy about her humor, but the way she got her foot in the door is still a hot topic for debate. It shows that in Hollywood, knowing the right person is good, but being very close to the person who signs the checks is even better. Using a relationship to get a show is a classic move, but some of the most shocking stories go all the way back to the early days of television and involve people you would never expect. 4. Nancy Reagan on Different Strokes.
Not ever get involved with political decisions.
Most people remember her as the First Lady of the United States, but she was also an actress. She even made a guest appearance on the hit sitcom Different Strokes to talk about her anti-bad habit campaign. The show was huge, reaching millions of homes. But there is a secret about her early days in Hollywood that many people are crazy about. Rumors from the 1940s and 50s suggest she was very popular with the powerful men at major movie studios. The thing nobody tells you is that she allegedly used her charm and personal favors to secure her place in the industry. Stories from those old studio days say she was known for being very friendly with producers to get the best roles. What many overlooked is that these early career moves helped her build the connections she needed to eventually meet her husband and move into politics. To put it mildly, her past was a lot more colorful than her later image as a serious leader would suggest. It is a strange twist of history to think that a woman so focused on rules later in life might have played by a different set of rules to get her start. These old Hollywood stories are wild, but modern-day stars have their own secrets about how they won the most prestigious awards in the world. 5. Gwyneth Paltrow on Friends.
Okay.
But I have to sort of show some restraint.
Oh.
You might remember her as the person who won an Oscar for a famous movie about Shakespeare, but she also has ties to the sitcom world. She was very famous during the era when Friends was the biggest show on the planet. Everyone was crazy about her, and she seemed to be everywhere. But many people wondered how she stayed so popular for so long. The thing nobody tells you is that she had a very complicated relationship with a powerful producer. While she says she turned down his worst requests, she still had to maintain a professional bond that many found a bit too close. To put it mildly, the industry was small, and having that connection meant she got the best scripts before anyone else. What many overlooked is that her family was already famous, which gave her a head start, but the extra boost from a powerful man made her unstoppable. Her career is a mix of high-end talent and very strategic personal ties. Having the right connections can make you a legend, but some actors say they were pushed into situations they never wanted just to keep their names on the guest list of the biggest parties. 6. Asia Argento on Veronica Mars.
Out of necessity, I was really unhappy and I was agoraphobic. I couldn't.
This actress appeared on the hit show Veronica Mars, which was a favorite for millions of mystery fans. She was known for being edgy and different. However, she later admitted that she had an intimate encounter with a powerful producer because she felt she had to. She described it as something she did out of necessity at a party to keep her career alive. To put it mildly, she felt like she was being manipulated by someone with all the power. The thing nobody tells you is that these situations happen at the highest levels of show business more often than we think. Many people are crazy about the glamour, but her story reminds us of the darker side. She said the psychological pressure was so high that she felt she couldn't say no. It is a heavy story that changed the way people look at her career. She wasn't just acting on screen, she was trying to navigate a very dangerous world behind the scenes. Stories like hers are hard to hear, but the pressure to succeed doesn't just fall on women in Hollywood. Some of the biggest male stars have their own rumors about how they reached the top. 7. Maxwell Caulfield on the Callbys.
It's a tribute to, show that's based obviously on the original.
Back in the 1980s, The Callbys was a huge drama and sitcom spin-off that everyone watched. It was full of rich people and big hair. This actor was the handsome leading man that all the fans loved. But the thing nobody tells you is that he was rumored to be a favorite of powerful older executives in town. What many overlooked is that his career seemed to slow down exactly when he stopped participating in that world. To put it mildly, the whispers in Hollywood were that he was being passed around as a favorite for roles in exchange for his company. When he decided he didn't want to play that game anymore, the big roles started to disappear. It shows that the price of fame can be very high, and sometimes, if you stop paying it, the industry moves on to someone else. He was a talented guy, but in the 80s, talent wasn't always enough to stay on top of the mountain. It is a tough business for anyone, and even the man who would become the biggest action star in history had some very powerful help in the beginning. 8 Tom Cruise on early TV pilots.
You know, you see how we kind of work on different aerial sequences from Top Gun, and then, you know, I fly jets and...
Before he was flying jets or climbing buildings, he was trying to make it in small TV roles and pilots. He was a young kid with a big smile and a lot of energy. But you see, many people wonder how he became the biggest star in the world so quickly. The rumor is that he had a very close relationship with a man named David Geffen. David was one of the most powerful people in music and movies. The thing nobody tells you is that there were whispers about what happened at exclusive parties to help this young actor get his big break. To put it mildly, his rise was like a rocket ship, and having a billionaire as a mentor didn't hurt. What many overlooked is that he was always at the right place at the right time, and some say those meetings were more than just business. Whether or not the rumors are true, he became a legend who changed the movie industry forever. Mentors are important, but sometimes those relationships are more than just teaching, and they can even lead to rumors of secret weddings to stay on the A-list. 9. Steve Guttenberg on Family Ties.
Anybody, I've been lucky enough to meet presidents, captains of industry, important people.
In the 80s, Steve Guttenberg was the quintessential boy next door, a face that seemed to be plastered on every movie poster and television screen across the country. Whether he was leading the Police Academy crew or starring in blockbuster comedies, he had a very friendly image that made him feel like everyone's favorite neighbor. During this peak era, he even made his way into the world of sitcoms, guest starring on shows like Family Ties. On the surface, it looked like a standard career move for a rising star, but the thing nobody tells you is that he was allegedly part of an incredibly exclusive group of actors who were deeply entrenched with a powerhouse producer named Alan Carr. Alan Carr was not just any producer. He was a flamboyant, larger-than-life figure, famous for throwing legendary hedonistic parties and hand-picking young, attractive actors to lead his projects. To put it mildly, industry insiders referred to this specific inner circle as the Velvet Mafia. While many people are crazy about those old 80s movies and look back on them with pure nostalgia, they don't know that being part of that secret social fabric was often the real key to getting hired in major roles. What many overlooked is that Guttenberg's career reached its most dizzying heights during the exact time he was a fixture in Carr's powerful social orbit. This wasn't just about talent or luck. It was about a secret network that functioned as a gatekeeper for fame. As long as an actor was willing to be part of the club and navigate the complex social expectations of Carr's inner circle, their trajectory was virtually guaranteed. It was a world of high-stakes networking where a single invitation to a private party could lead to a multi-picture deal, proving that the brightest stars often had the most shadow-shrouded support systems. 10. Keanu Reeves on Hanging.
The waltz with the partner, and oh my gosh, I mean, I got high.
In Keanu Reeves is widely considered one of the most loved and respected people in Hollywood today, known for his humility and kindness. However, long before he was an action icon, he was a young, struggling actor appearing on a Canadian sitcom called hanging in. He was just starting out, trying to find his footing in an industry that can be notoriously difficult to crack. But as his fame began to skyrocket in the early 90s, a very wild rumor began to circulate that suggested his rapid ascent wasn't entirely due to his acting chops. The story claimed he had actually entered into a secret marriage with a massive industry titan, David Geffen. The thing nobody tells you is that this story wasn't just a playground whisper. It was actually printed in several reputable newspapers and magazines at the time, giving it a veneer of legitimacy that horrified his PR team. To put it mildly, it was a massive scandal that threatened to redefine his public persona. The narrative suggested that Reeves had made a calculated personal agreement to enter into a high-level relationship with the powerful studio head to guarantee his spot on the Hollywood A-list. What many overlooked is that Reeves has always been an intensely private person, and his refusal to engage with the tabloid frenzy only made the rumors grow more elaborate. While most people now believe the story was nothing more than a mean-spirited industry trick or a fabricated piece of fan fiction, its persistence shows how far people will go to explain how someone becomes a superstar so quickly. The Geffen marriage became a piece of Hollywood folklore, a cautionary tale about the perceived cost of entry into the highest echelons of fame, and a reminder that even the most wholesome stars are often subjected to the most scandalous narratives. 11. Jennifer Lopez on In Living Color.
I'm excited for people to see the movie.
Jennifer Lopez is a global powerhouse today, but her journey began as a fly girl dancer on the groundbreaking sketch comedy show In Living Color. The show was a cultural phenomenon with millions of fans, providing the perfect platform for her athletic dance style and undeniable charisma. However, her transition from a background dancer to a chart-topping singer and movie star didn't happen by accident. You see, her career shifted into high gear right as she became very friendly with a man named Tommy Mottola, the former head of Sony Music. Mottola was a kingmaker, a man with a reputation for taking promising talent and molding them into international legends through sheer corporate force. The thing nobody tells you is that many people in the music industry believed her meteoric rise was fast-tracked specifically because of their close professional and personal bond. To put it mildly, Mottola was known for expecting total loyalty and absolute control in exchange for making someone a household name. He had a specific quote for stardom, and Lopez was the perfect candidate to execute it. What many overlooked is that while she was incredibly hard-working and possessed a relentless drive, having the most powerful man in the music business in her corner gave her a competitive lead that no other dancer could ever hope to match. Her debut album, On the Six, wasn't just a collection of songs. It was a highly calculated launch backed by the full weight of a music empire. She eventually moved on to even bigger heights and established her own independent legacy. But that early boost from the industry's inner sanctum was the essential key that unlocked the door to her becoming a permanent fixture in the entertainment zeitgeist. Success in music and TV is a dream for many, but some actors find that their big break comes from being handpicked by a producer for reasons that have nothing to do with acting. 12. Gretchen Mol on Spin TT.
You know, now as a parent, I think I tried to do that for a couple of years.
This actress was on the sitcom Spin TT, which starred Michael J. Fox, and was a huge hit with nearly 15 million viewers. She was very talented, but suddenly she was on the cover of every magazine. People were calling her the next big thing before she had even done much work. The thing nobody tells you is that a powerful producer had reportedly decided she was going to be a star because he liked her personally. To put it mildly, the industry was confused because she hadn't earned that much attention yet. What many overlooked is that when she allegedly stopped playing along with the producer's demands, her career suddenly came to a halt. It was a classic example of how a powerful person can give you everything and then take it all away if you don't follow their rules. She is still a great actress, but she never became the giant star everyone expected. When a producer turns against you, it can be the end of the road, but some directors from the past were even more controlling of the actors they worked with. 13. Tip Pie Hedren on Alfred Hitchcock, Presents.
Make people aware of the fact that you do not have to acquiesce to anyone's desires.
This is a classic story from the golden age of TV. She appeared on the famous show Alfred Hitchcock Presents. The director of the show became obsessed with her. To put it mildly, he wanted her to be his personal property. The thing nobody tells you is that she refused to give in to his advances. Because she said no, he decided to destroy her career. He wouldn't let her work for anyone else and kept her under a contract that paid her almost nothing. What many overlooked is that this is the opposite of sleeping your way to the top. It is what happens when you refuse. It shows that the pressure to trade favors was always there, and the cost of saying no could be just as high as the cost of saying yes. It is a brave story from a different time, but the world of modern sitcoms has its own share of actors who were caught in a web of fame and favors. 14. Charlie Sheen on 2.5 Men.
Wow. The legendary lost wallet of Alan Harper.
For years, this actor was the highest paid man on television, making nearly $2 million for every single episode of 2.5 Men. The show was the #1 sitcom in the country. But behind the scenes, he was living a very wild life. The thing nobody tells you is that he was actually involved with a famous Hollywood woman who ran a ring of high-end companions. To put it mildly, he was trading his fame and money for time with these women. Many people are crazy about his funny character on the show, but his real life was a lot more complicated. What many overlooked is that he was using his massive success to fuel a lifestyle that eventually led to him losing his job. It was a transactional world where money and fame were traded for intimacy every single day. His fall from grace was a huge story, but the world of international television also has stars who have been very honest about what they did to get ahead. 15. Kalki Koechlin in Indian TV comedies.
I've just been myself, and that happens to be unconventional, and even from the place of like where I came from, how I was born, you know.
This actress is very famous in Bollywood and has appeared in many comedy shows and dramas. She is known for being very brave and speaking her mind. In interviews, she has actually admitted that she had to deal with producers who wanted favors in exchange for roles. The thing nobody tells you is that she admitted to spending time with directors early in her career just to get a chance. To put it mildly, she said it was what you had to do to survive in a very crowded industry. What many overlooked is that once she became successful, she stopped doing it and started talking about how wrong the system is. She is one of the few stars who has been totally honest about the reality of the business. Being honest is rare in Hollywood, and another star from the same region has also shared her story about the price of a big project. 16. Sherlyn Chopra on comedy sketches.
मुझे लगा था कि मैं बहुत strong हूँ, mentally and physically.
This actress and model appeared on several comedy shows and was known for her bold personality. She shocked everyone when she openly discussed her past in the media. She admitted that she had a physical relationship with a producer to get a big project. The thing nobody tells you is that she didn't want to hide it anymore. To put it mildly, she wanted people to know the truth about how the industry works. What many overlooked is that her honesty made her very famous, but it also made some people in the business uncomfortable. She showed that the pressure to trade personal favors for work is a global problem that happens in every country with the movie industry. The truth can be shocking, but some of the most famous legends of all time were the ones who perfected the art of using their beauty to get what they wanted. 17. Joan Crawford in TV anthologies.
They asked me how many pictures I had made And I said 70-something at that time.
In her later years, this movie legend appeared on several comedy and drama TV shows, proving that her star power could transcend the silver screen. She was one of the biggest stars in history, a woman whose face defined the golden age of Hollywood. But the thing nobody tells you is that she was very open about how she got her start. While others tried to maintain a pristine, untouchable image, Crawford was a realist who understood the transactional nature of the industry. She admitted in books and interviews that she stayed with directors and other stars to make sure she was always in the spotlight. To put it mildly, she was very strategic about who she spent her time with. In the silent era and the early days of talkies, the quote "for" was an unspoken rule, but Crawford treated it like a chess match. What many overlooked is that she saw it as a job, no different than memorizing lines or hitting her marks. She believed that if you wanted to be at the top, you had to do whatever it took to stay there. She was a powerhouse who controlled her own destiny by using every tool she had, including her personal life. Even when she moved into television, guest starring on shows like Night Gallery or The Virginian, she brought that same calculated intensity. She knew that her legacy depended on visibility, and she wasn't afraid to use her connections to secure her place in the living rooms of millions. She was a master of the game, and she paved the way for another blonde icon who would become the most famous face in the world. 18. Marilyn Monroe in early comedy sketches.
To tell a woman, my wife's back.
Before she was a global icon, Marilyn Monroe was appearing in small comedy bits and early TV shows, often playing the dumb blonde archetype that she would eventually turn into an art form. Everyone was crazy about her look, but she struggled for years to be taken seriously as an artist. The thing nobody tells you is that she had a very close relationship with a man named Darryl Zanuck, who ran a massive studio and held the keys to her future. To put it mildly, she used her personal ties to make sure she got the roles that would make her a star. She followed the blueprint laid out by women like Joan Crawford, recognizing that in a male-dominated studio system, proximity to power was the only currency that mattered. What many overlooked is that she was also very smart and knew exactly what she was doing. She wasn't a passive victim of the system. She was a tactician who blended her personal life with her career to move up the ladder. She worked tirelessly on her craft, studying with the best teachers, but she never ignored the political side of fame. Even though she is remembered as a tragic figure, she was also a woman who knew how to play the Hollywood system to get to the very top. She transformed herself from Norma Jean into Marilyn through sheer force of will and a series of calculated alliances. She is the ultimate example of a star who used everything she had to find success. But some modern stars have found themselves in similar situations with directors who helped them find fame. 19. Megan Fox on New Girl.
And I'm not really sure why I always came through that way, except that no one's going to know what I'm talking about right now, but
This actress had a guest role on the hit sitcom New Girl, where she played a very cool and confident character named Reagan. It was a refreshing change of pace for an actress who had spent much of her career being pigeonholed. She became famous after starring in a huge movie about giant robots, a role that launched her into the stratosphere of 2000s pop culture. But you see, her relationship with the director of that movie was very complicated and often mirrored the power dynamics of old Hollywood. The thing nobody tells you is that their personal dynamic was a big reason she got the role in the first place. To put it mildly, it was a strategic move that helped her become a household name overnight. During the audition process, she was famously asked to perform tasks that had little to do with acting, highlighting the uncomfortable reality of how starlets are often vetted by powerful men. What many overlooked is that when the relationship soured, following her outspoken comments about his directing style, her career hit a rough patch. The industry that had embraced her so quickly was just as fast to cast her aside when she stopped playing by their rules. It shows that while these personal connections can help you get famous, they can also be very difficult to manage in the long run. She eventually found her way back to TV, proving her comedic timing and resilience, but her early rise will always be linked to that powerful director. Hollywood remains a place of big dreams and even bigger secrets. Whether it is through talent, luck, or personal favors, these stars all found a way to make their mark on television history, navigating a system that rarely gives anything away for free.